Howdy mappers, and welcome to my Learning Campaign Cartographer 3+ video tutorial series. Today we'll be starting the map, and we will be starting with just adding the basic landmasses. As I said initially, the focus of this series is to keep each video short, so you can go and see one concept and then go on. And if you need more content, you can basically just watch a lot of the videos in order. I highly recommend that you try out these things yourselves. This is not something that is easily learned just by watching a video, but watch what I'm doing, try it for yourself, make your own map and follow along with me with your own map. So we're just going to go to Campaign Cartographer, and we can see we have the window just as I left it at the end of the last video. A mess, in other words. But today we're gonna start our own map, and we're soon going to get rid of all of this mess in my view window anyway. So to start a new map in Campaign Cartographer, all you have to do is to click the new map button. We will not save the existing map. And the first question is, which kind of map do you want to make? Today I'm going to start with an overland map. As I already said in the introduction video, Campaign Cartographer core itself can technically draw any kind of map, but the art resources and styles and everything that comes with it is mainly designed for overland mapping. There is a basic dungeon and a basic city style included as well, so you can draw dungeons and cities, but for a better experience there, you should probably be considering getting the add-ons, but that's not strictly necessary. But as I also said, when starting out, even if we are doing an overland map, the techniques and concepts we are talking about will be the same as in a dungeon map or a city map or anything like that. Some procedures will of course be different, but the main drawing concepts are the same. So even if you're not into overland mapping, starting with a basic overland map tutorial like this is a good idea. Most of the existing tutorials for cities, dungeons and so on do expect that you have already understood the basics, and those are usually taught through these basic overland tutorials. So even if you don't plan on making overland maps later with Campaign Cartographer, please just bear with us, do an overland map during your first tutorial and get to learn the concepts and get an understanding of the program. So I'm gonna choose overland map. And you can choose between pick a predefined template and decide settings myself. The program comes with a lot of predefined templates, but you gain a much greater flexibility if you do decide settings yourself. There are some add-ons that only have predefined templates, usually because the templates have to be restrictive in some way to function normally, but for most maps, you want to do the side setting yourself, then you can set the size of the map and the background and everything yourself. So use that, the side setting myself. Then you asked about the map style. As I said in my previous video, I have all the add-ons for Campaign Cartographer 3+ installed in my install here, so I have a lot more styles available than you would have in a brand new install. You will still have a few of them. You should have at least the Marksway Overland and the Marksway Inks Overland and CC3 Standard Overland. And you have CC3 Pro Overland, and I'm pretty sure you should have the annual Hervin V-Link style as well. So you should have some styles to choose from, but if you buy the add-ons on annuals, you'll get a whole lot more. And the style is basically the visual look of your map. Well, on the first screen, we chose the type of map You can choose between overland and dungeons and so on. Here we choose the visual style of the map. These styles are very different kind of symbols. Some are symbol heavy, some are symbol light. Some focus on specific areas, like more deserty type or wastelandy type areas, while others are more suited for whole world mappings and things like that. So treat these styles as completely different map. It's not, you can with some manual work convert a map from one style to another, but it's often if you use a style with a lot of different mountain symbols, maybe the style you're converting into does not have as many mountain symbols. You won't have the same kind of variety because it's focused on something else. So figure out what style you want. Usually you just want to stick with the style you started out with. You can use symbols and such from other styles. It's a topic we will be discussing later. But for now, I'm going to make a map in the standard style for Campaign Cartographer 3+, and that's the CC3 Mike Schley Overland. This one, called CC3 Standard Overland, is the standard overland style for the original Campaign Cartographer 3. But when 3+ was released, it came with this new style, the Mike Schley Overland style. And it also had the inks one if you want a black and white style. So I'm going to start with the standard Mike Schley style and hit next. Now we are asked for the size of our map. And this is actually a bit important to get right, because I mentioned this a bit in my introduction video. A lot of people, especially with experience from bitmap editors, image editors and things like that, often think in sizes of pixels. They're thinking of pixels per inch and a lot of things like that. But Campaign Cartographer works in real world units. So when I'm mapping an overland map, I am actually expressing myself in miles. Or if I want to make a metric map, I use kilometers. Actually, I forgot to mention that, but if you look at the templates here, we have both metric and non-metric or imperial templates. So pick the one you need. If you want to map in kilometers, pick the metric option. If not, pick the standard option, which is miles. It also says here unit miles, so you can see what unit it is. So this size is the real world area of your map. It's not the size you want to print. It's not like you're gonna put in 11 by 8 to print on a normal letter paper or something like that. This is the map size in miles. And I'm going to map a rather small area right now. So I'm gonna go for a map that is 50 miles by 40 miles. And again, the sizes here depend on the template you chose, which is why it doesn't say miles in this dialog. But for example, if you made a metric dungeon map, then these would be in meters. If you made an imperial dungeon map, then it would be in feet. If you're making a galactic map in Cosmographer, this would probably be light years or parsecs. So the definition of these numbers are defined out from the template you chose. But again, let me go back. You can see, as I have here, unit miles, and so this is just the unit we are using. So 50 by 40 miles. I can make a title here. Let's call it the tutorial coast. And I don't need a copyright notice. These fields here, title and copyright notice, are only inserted into the map if we actually place them in the map by clicking top right, and I can insert the map title in the top right. And once I'm done and get to see my map, I should see that my text is in the top right. But these fields doesn't really have any meaning unless I actually choose to place things. I could place a copyright button in the bottom right, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm gonna click next. We can then select a background for our map. The ocean background is chosen by default in this style, and for overland maps, usually they have an ocean background. Usually in Campaign Cartographer, we start with the ocean as a background, and then we just place the land masses on top of it. It's possible to do it the other way around as well, but we're not going to go into details about that now. If you want a grid on your map, you can check grid overlay, and you can say that what spacing you want. For example, 5 miles. And again, these numbers are in the map units of the map. We remember that that was miles for this map. So even if you don't see an indicator in the different dialogues, it always refers to the scale unit for the map, and the unit for this map is miles. So that's a 5-mile grid. We can just put in the grid, and we want a square grid. If you like hex grids, you can of course add those as well, and I don't want labels, I just want a grid. And yeah, I could change my background of course, but I prefer to have the ocean background. So I'm just going to do finish, and I'm gonna find somewhere to save this. In my documents directory is a nice place to save it, and I'm just gonna save it as the tutorial coast in my documents directory. There we go. We can see the map title as where we placed it, and we can see that this now has a grid of 5 miles. Now for this first video, I'm just going to draw the land masses, and then in further videos we will add more and more features and do things to our map. So to add a landmass, I have my overland tools up here I talked about in the interface, and to draw a landmass, just click on the default landmass button and just start anywhere really. So start like this, and you can see a line showing me where it will be. So I can do like that. And if you want it to be up against the edge of the map, just click on the outside. You see where my cursor is placed. Click, and I move it down to the bottom corner here. Click, all the way over here. Click, and then I can go a little bit up actually. I don't want it at the corner. Click, and click, click. When you're done, simply right click the mouse button, and it will automatically complete that last segment, that last hole, and fill it in. So right click and done. That's our landmass. So you notice that even if I clicked outside the map, the tool restricted itself to the map border. And that's one of the features of these drawing tools. They restrict themselves to the map border, so that when you want to actually follow the map border, because well, the map ends here, you just draw outside and it will fix itself. If I instead try to manually click along the border, the result will probably be bad, because as you can see, if you look at my cursor here, you can see that the land is do have some details to it, and that's because the landmass is automatically fractalized. It adds more definition to the coastline, more than the amount of clicks. I only made a few clicks, but Campaign Cartographer added a lot of extra nodes to make this look more like a natural coastline. So I'm just going to draw an island as well. Now you can see that my command prompt reads fractal polygon first point, and that's because when I have drawn my landmass, I can immediately go on to draw another. Let's draw a small tiny island down here. Right click, done. But the tool doesn't really exit until we tell it to. So I can just hit the escape button on my keyboard and we are back. It now reads command. It's ready for a new command. If I try to start another command, that will also abort the previous command. So as you can see, I click the landmass button here to start drawing, but the drawing tools are also visible in my symbol catalog window. So I could have picked landmass from here instead. Click landmass and I'm going to draw a slightly bigger island. Like this. And escape. And it is exactly the same. This button and this tool both start the exact same drawing tool. It's just two ways of accessing that tool. So I'm just going to hit the redraw button. When you draw things in Campaign Cartographer for performance reasons, they are automatically drawn on top of everything else, including the grid, as you can see here. But in reality, the grid should be on top. But this is just a visual thing when I'm editing things. Once I click redraw to refresh the screen, I see how things are really going to be. And as you can see now, we have our grid, we have our landmass, we have a couple of islands. And that's the first tutorial for, or the first where we actually draw something. And in the next video, I will show you how to edit an existing landmass. So I'll just say thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next video.